Hey everybody, this is Bacter, back with some more alternate endings to I Fell from Grace. This is the first of a two-part series. I tried to find endings that ended in a different place than the medical trial ward where Grace goes Demon Super Saiyan and ends the world. So for this first one, we continue on giving Grace the pill and having the affair as we've done before. And if you'll recall, that makes Dawn, the receptionist, not want cocaine for some reason, but instead send us to find Dave, the murdered employee who Doris gutted in the bottom of her old eatery. Is that related to it closing? I don't think so, because I think it closed before Dave started his investigation, but whatever. We even pretend to be a private eye, just like we did in the last alternate ending. However, this time, we'll cave, not keep up our deception, and admit our true purpose after first pretending. It seems weird, but, it's weird to pretend we were a private eye anyway. Maybe she'll appreciate a little honesty from us, even though last time we seemed to get along pretty well. Yeah, we're not great at this explanation here, and in fact this breaks the relationship. Last time she took us to her apartment, gave us the clue to get us started finding Dave. Now we need to start over from square one. And I have to say the game is not great about telling us where to go. Although it makes sense to ask people in the apartment building, you probably would just randomly ask everybody until you ran across this guy. That's a creepy request. Don't answer that, please. Yeah, I guess he doesn't suspect us, but hey, that crying woman, what apartment does she live in? Give me her home address, please. We also learned that she fought with her husband, but we kind of knew that from her, so we gotta get in somehow. Unsurprisingly, the door is locked, and so how are we going to proceed? Well, you'll remember that there's a big fire axe up a floor, and when we take it, yeah, this guy who lives in these crappy, dumpy apartments and just sits in the hallway in a suit and tie stops us from doing so. Now, we noticed in the main playthrough that this was the very guy who would at the Lieberman office on day one trying to get a job, but he was shot down possibly because of his terrible attitude, although I bet Lieberman employs a bunch of people with terrible attitudes, so it's hard to say why. We go on this little song and dance of getting him an interview, as you'll see here in a second. There goes Henry. And then he agrees to exchange that for letting us have the fire axe. I feel like we could have paid him for it too, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it was the principle of the thing for him. Now, I don't know why Harry doesn't just lie here. Progressing is very strange. It's not someone you talk to. It's that this notice board in the old part of the office, where they kind of make a big deal about the notice boards not getting updated all that often, like a lot of them have old Christmas notes and stuff, is suddenly updated. And now you can talk to the janitor, and he agrees to hire this guy because it's such a terrible janitorial position they'll hire anybody for it. It's kind of funny that we keep this going and, fool the guy into thinking he's going to get real work when, haha, it's just a janitor thing. I don't know why we didn't just lie outright. Like, there's no way that it was a legitimate misunderstanding. Like, he's never going to believe we thought hygienic practical research was something that the janitor did. Like, it's not going to be any better for us tomorrow if we had just totally lied versus getting him a crappy job. He's just going to show up and be disappointed. But whatever. That gets us the fire axe, and I guess it soothes Harry's conscience. So I guess let's knock the handle off the door with the or we could just knock the door down. We could just break it. Alright, Jack Nicholson from The Shining. This, after a few big leaps, I want to impress on you, if you weren't using, like, an FAQ, like I was, this would have taken you quite a while to put together, I'm pretty sure, because the game is so big. But whatever, this is our punishment for not knowing how to handle Dave's wife. Now we have, 'Cause, his notes, and we know that next we need to go to Doris's broken-down cafe. Now, I think we got a key from Dave, but it doesn't end up being necessary for this playthrough. We'll just, whoop, this is bad. Yeah, of course she heard the noise, because we were, whoa, gosh. Yeah, Henry, okay, just axe her right between the eyes. You know, they do things sometimes, a few times in this game, where it seems like Henry enters a fugue state when he kills somebody. Now, I don't know if that's meant to be just him panicking, or if they're implying he gets possessed somehow, maybe by the bloodthirsty ghost things of his kids, something like that. I don't know, I haven't seen a playthrough where that's fleshed out anymore. I mean, when our therapist is killed by the kids, did they possess us and we did it, or something? It's hard to say. Either way, we kind of know how this bit goes. We get the bad smell there, we go downstairs in the apartment building, the bad smell is here as well. We need to go to the cafe first before the stink starts coming out down here for whatever reason. But now we need to get through, and we have access to the super, so we can't get her key. Instead, if you go back to work, magically, this Fix-It van will have appeared, and we'll need to head out back. A lot of things in this particular playthrough are a little not so well put together. The edges of things are a little more visible, if you take my meaning. So this guy is welding, I guess? Yeah, that seems bad. It's clearly not a blowtorch, right? I mean, that's like an arc welder, I think, right? I don't know what he'd be doing on a transformer with a blowtorch, and why it would be sparking like that, and why he'd be worried about doing it in the rain. I don't know. Anyway, now we have a blowtorch, so we'll use it to melt the lock. Even though, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this. Is that what a blowtorch does anyway? I don't know. Could you melt a big steel lock with a blowtorch? That seems a little iffy. Anyway, it was unbelievably easy to get that thing after all we had to go through to get the fire axe. We literally just ask him about it. You just have to find him, and then he gives you the blowtorch, which is, awfully nice of him. Whatever. Now we have the key card, and just like before, we go back, and here we're getting caught by Harris. Now, it says we don't have anything to fight with, because, you'll see fight isn't an option here. I feel like the axe could be something to fight with. I guess they didn't animate that, but we're going to plea with Harris, and surprise, surprise, he's not really a guy that you can plea with easily or successfully. So no, he makes us into his errand boy. Question, what he wants is, of course, it has to do with the Tsar. We've had a lot of foreshadowing that he was involved in the drug business, and apparently not as a buyer, as a seller. He is a middleman in the drug business and is making money off of the Tsar selling drugs and wants to off him. And is nothing if not resourceful. However, I feel like he didn't take one thing into consideration, which is we have no incentive to keep working with him and to play along with him. He clearly doesn't have our best interests at heart, and he's not going to let up off of us. He's not going to let us go after this. We're kind of under his thumb forever. And so, yeah, instead of just giving him the poison drugs, why don't we just tell the Tsar and see if we can't turn the tables a little bit? Now, having some breathing disease poison maybe seems a little convenient, but that's something he might have. What are we talking about breathing disease, Tsar? Because that's sort of important. Is this anaphylactic shock breathing disease? Is this mild asthma breathing disease? I mean, that makes a big difference. We need something which is going to do him in immediately. Anyway, this scene plays out more or less the same, regardless of what we did. We can totally play along with Harris if we're a dummy, and don't realize that agreeing to be his underling forever isn't a good idea for us. Yeah, I wouldn't scare us with death there, Harris. I mean, we did axe a lady right between the eyes. Yeah. So, the second time we've poisoned Harris with coffee. Okay. Play with the science toy, you got it. I wonder how quickly this is going to take place. Now, unfortunately, we can't peep at him with the snake cam in the next door office. So instead, we just go home. Grace has her nightmares. She is, dissolving mentally, as she does. We don't really notice it, as we don't. You notice the front door to Harry's house and the door to Grace's room are both colored black. I noticed that there's some things with color in this game. Anyway, we do the blood tests. We give the results to the professor there. Grace is having further nightmares. This is all pretty similar, so I'm cutting out large swaths of it. And when we leave the office to go home, who do we have here? A new character. This is indeed the detective that everybody references being awful, that we specifically heard no one would be sad if he died. And we're not making a great first impression here. Murder? That's preposterous. I like that he introduces this as like, oh, don't worry, it's just some routine questions. You're just the primary suspect in this death. Also, that's not really a question. I just wanted to tell you that you're the prime suspect. My method of detecting is to tell the prime suspect that they're the prime suspect. I kind of wonder if this isn't mixed up a little bit. I feel like the last thing that we gave Harris would have been the thing that dissolved the chemical cleaner. That would have dissolved his stomach. This more, he just would have collapsed. I feel like people would not have noticed him, or there wouldn't be an investigation this time, rather than last time. Oh well, whatever. We just go home, go to sleep. Grace has further nightmares, is slipping into insanity. We kind of don't notice because it's our big day. And, of course, it should probably go without saying, the detective is there before we get up to our meeting. Bad lie, Henry, and there's a bunch of other good ones you could have made. But I can't really fault the game. I'm sure he's distracted and panicked. Yeah, everything will be great. Okay, thanks, pal. Oh, and it's Elevator Ex Machina. Yes, this third elevator that we've heard about all game, which gets stuck all the time, is conveniently stuck with the detective in it. I guess nobody warned him not to take that elevator. And now we have our first timed segment in the game. We have to do something bad to the elevator, or else we are going to get arrested. Now, you may remember, there is a machine room up on the 4th floor, and even though I kind of think in a modern elevator system this wouldn't work, what we're going to have to do is get that blowtorch that we got earlier and cut through the cable. I seriously think there's a break or something on these, but regardless, we'll just get our blowtorch. I got the blowtorch. I had it before. It was from this guy out here. The guy's blowtorching again. This is the same conversation I had before. Deja vu? Okay. Yeah, this particular playthrough, I think, there's a lot of storylines going around, so no real complaints from me, but yes, I think they got a little confused and made us go through that twice to get the blowtorch twice. It's really the first... I mean, we've seen some things that kind of don't make sense, like the affair making Dawn not want cocaine, but nothing which is so obviously buggy quite like this. This is the first time I've seen this in a playthrough. Anyway, we did that, and safety mechanisms or no, I'm pretty sure there's gotta be like a break in an elevator, but regardless, he did. I like how no one cares, like no one's investigating this at all. Yeah, Henry, I guess the meeting isn't delayed because the elevator just fell and killed a man. I'm sure the police won't think this is suspicious. That, the detective investigating the case suddenly died under suspicious circumstances while investigating you. Well, whatever. We don't talk about the nightmares, and now it's time for the final crisis, because there's always a final crisis, and this seems to be one of the most variable parts of the game. There are a huge variety of final crises. Here, we have, I think we know this guy, I think this is one of the junkies on the fourth floor of the apartment building, and he was apparently the ones making, as we know he makes drugs, was supplying Harris, so he's going to want us to step in and take over. It's an interesting kind of twist. We're given no choice. Actually, Henry is pretty full of himself, and, just thinks he's a real big shot. Oh no, they're going after Grace. Well, that kind of clears up our schedule for the rest of the afternoon. We're gonna have to go and save our wife. Yeah, I've turned off the sound for this part because this is a new sound effect I hadn't heard before and I really want you guys to hear. I guess either she's manifesting some early demon powers, or they just didn't expect her to be this crazy. Yeah, hi Grace. Yeah. Ugh. Ugh, that's such a crazy laugh. Yeah. Oh, and the rotating head from our call before is back. And just knocks us right out. Yeah, okay, Grace. And here we are in hell. Interesting. I mean, I'm assuming Henry thinks it's hell, and I see no reason to disagree with him. Our phone's ringing. You know, for me in hell, the place really isn't that bad. I mean, the couch is gray or brown instead of purple now, but, whatever. 555-712-914, eh? What an interesting way to spell out a phone number. Almost as if that's an important series we're going to have to... 555-712-914 again. Okay. I see. That's, again, 555-712-914. Please remember, 555-712-914. I like that Henry still thinks about the same thing when looking at his hell backyard. Presumably we're just in the Silent Hill alternate dimension or whatever at this point. So yeah, we don't know where Grace went. All the bodies are gone in hell. I don't know if it's meant to be later during the apocalypse, but if we go upstairs, it's those endlessly repeating corridors like the one we saw our child in one of our dreams. And of course, as the astute among you may have guessed, there's not really much to this. You go through the 7th door, and then you go through the 12th door. Not really a high-effort series of places. I mean, these all pretty much look the same. And then the 9th door, and then the 14th door, of course. So it's not really a labyrinth, I guess, and nothing really presaged that sequence of numbers, as far as I can tell. You were just meant to pick up on that. They kind of shoved it in your face in a phone call, so not a grade A end puzzle, but, fine, it'll work. And here we are back with Demon Grace, in the nursery this time. It feels a little bit more personal encountering her here than just in the Lieberman building, although I suppose those are both places of high importance to Henry, symbolizing his career and his family, respectively. You can see the key glinting behind Grace, which is kind of neat because I didn't pick that up. It means the two environments are quite similar, I guess, just because the key shows up in both of them. Although maybe that's meant to be a hint that you should look there in the future. I guess I could see something like that. Anyway, the end is more or less the same, with Grace, I guess, obliterating the entire world and locking you into the cycle. But, you just get to see a little bit of a different side of things this way. A lot of the endings are very variable. Like the last challenge, and then what happens after that, seems like it can take on a wide variety of shapes. And indeed, I will be showing off one which is even more variable than this one next time. Look forward to seeing you then. Factor out.